Hello and welcome back to Swinging at Shins, your Premier League podcast. Today we have Rhett.
Hello.
Rhett, how you doing?
Apparently my hand's spazzing out due to my virtual background, but I'm doing all right.
Oh damn! It's getting eaten away by the. Come on,
It's in
you
the
Gunners!
stands. It's in the stands.
I mean, wouldn't we all just like to be in the stands?
I would love to be in the stands.
Right.
I had to go back to the virtual background because the room kind of got destroyed. We're looking for something that we were pretty sure got lost in the move.
Oh no!
So
Devastating.
there's gonna be a box somewhere that has like a bread warmer and a bunch of Lila's like hospital stuff, and I don't know. There's a third thing, but I can't remember.
You definitely want one of those things is way more important than the other one.
Yeah. I still think it'll turn up.
Well, maybe. I hope so.
It's a weird thing to lose.
No, like, did they go through and open up the box and be like, "Hey, that's a bread warmer. We want that. Hey, this is a child's. This is an infant stuff. We want this."
Oh, infant footprints. Boy, totally. Howdy, is this what we want?
Well, all right. I don't think our fans want that. All 8 of them. Well, today we have match day 15 and 16 because we skipped 15 because we can't cram it all in, and they decided to have a midweek matchup, just like typical Premier League fashion. So we'll run down through scores of probably just 16, to be honest. Do we have a title race?
We do have a title race.
I think
we
so.
We have a fun title race.
It's a lot of new names up there, and we like it. I certainly do. The Cherries, have they gone mad? I think so. I think a lot of things, but Bournemouth's doing real well. We'll touch on that. And Everton's looking pretty bright right now too.
Yeah, we absolutely have to do week 15 scores. We don't need to spend a lot of time there.
I agree.
Some of the score lines are insane though.
No, I totally am fine with like touching on a few of them. We don't need to run through all of them, but like, yes, like I don't have it. Oh, yes, I do. Cool.
There was the 7-goal thriller at Kenilworth Road,
which we actually were able to get live.
Yeah, you guys got that live, which is great.
Yeah.
2-0 to the Cherries at Crystal Palace. Big match. Fulham score 5 at home against Nottingham Forest.
Dude, they spanked them. Steve Cooper got spanked. It was so bad that he went to the away fans and apologized. He was like, my bad.
That was bad. That one was bad. Aston Villa gets the first of its 2 impressive 1-0 victories this week.
Sir. Yes, sir. Love that. That one was a better one.
Yeah.
The City one was way more dominant.
The City one, it was definitely more of a complete game. Same outcome, though. Same outcome. Yeah. Everton 3, Newcastle 0.
Yeah.
Might be the most surprising scoreline of the season so far for me.
Considering that it was 0-0 up until like the 70th minute, and then all of a sudden, like, Newcastle just fell apart. And it's not even Newcastle. It was one player in particular. Kieran Trippier just like decided to forget how to play football. He gave up 2 goals. If he wasn't on the pitch, it's like it doesn't happen. But, Everton played well enough to get the win.
Yeah, and this is Kieran Trippier and Fabian Schär did both get the start in defense. Yeah. I understand. They're not super happy. They've had injuries. All those things have happened. But Everton had an expected goals of 3.36 that match. They looked like scoring a lot. Yeah. And they finally did. So that a lot of surprising score lines from 15.
And wait, back up one more, and I think West Ham.
Oh yeah, West Ham
against the Spurs too.
West Ham with Spurs 2-1 win.
Yep.
Is that news anymore though?
I mean, it
is because Tottenham turns around and puts 4 past Newcastle.
That's why I was like ish. I was looking to see what the XG of those goals were. So for the Everton match, Beto's was a 0.56, Decore was a 0.57, and McNeil was the lowest of all of the trio with a 0.1.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, like, well, that's on goal target too. not even regular XG realistically.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, they had a ton of shots, and then they deserved to actually win that match personally. But anyway,
Oh no, they did. They did. And then Tottenham had an expected goals of 3.81 against Newcastle. Again, a Tottenham that still does not have Maddison back.
Or they're missing another player too. I'm forgetting.
I mean, Newcastle let Richarlison get a brace. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's not good.
Not if you're Newcastle. But again, Newcastle have 13 players they're missing, which is just astronomical amount. Like, who do you have to look at your physios and be like, what are we doing? Like, can we? And not really, because most of them are game injuries, so it's like you can't even prevent that.
Yes, but Arsenal doesn't have nearly the same amount of injuries they used to, and part of that was new physios.
It's true. Fair
also,
enough.
I brought this up at the beginning. I think Woods even talked about it too. There's an awful lot of time wasting that Newcastle did last year.
Yeah,
and they're not getting away with that anymore because they're extending games so much longer, which I'm a fan of. I'm not a fan if it leads to injuries, and I'm not saying Newcastle gets a lot of injuries and you get what you deserve. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think that the style of play that they're playing is leading to
burnout.
You're burning out. It's Jurgen Klopp's heavy metal football.
Yeah, but like 2.0, because it's even harder, I think. Because they're still doing it now. They haven't even decided to conserve, the players that they have. They're just still, and I get it. It's hard to change your game plan midway through a season as well. Some teams do, and they're able to.
You don't have to change it midway through the season. You knew this was coming. You had all summer.
I'm just saying, as in like the depletion of players that they have currently, they're still continuing to play that style, the high press, the high turnover rate, and trying to attack in the opponent's third, your opponent's third. So it's catching up to them, obviously, and that's why they have 13 people out. But
also, some of it is luck.
Yeah,
I still think Eddie Howe's I think he's a very good manager. There are times that you need to adapt.
Agreed. Well, that's the problem with Ange as well. Like, when they went down to 9 players, I forget what match that was.
It was a Chelsea match.
And they still continued to play that high line, high press, and they just did not change. And he got spanked for it.
So I talked with Malcolm about this on Saturday, Malcolm being the only Spurs fan that I can stand. And he and I are actually in agreement on it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you went down, you have to play the high line to try to win the ball back because A, that's what the players know, and B, you're probably losing anyway. And if you park the bus with 10 men down goals, it doesn't matter. You're not going to score again.
That's fair.
I'd rather lose 4-1 and give myself a good shot at scoring than lose, 1-0 or 2-0. But oh man, we made it harder for them to score at the end. It's like, yeah, but we made it impossible for us to score.
That's true. Fair enough. I can get behind that thought process. Running through Matchday 16, the rest of them anyway. Crystal Palace lose at home to Liverpool 1-2. I feel like Liverpool was handed this match personally. I don't know if you got to watch it, but the red card that Awu, I think that's who it was, picked up the second yellow, was very soft. Not worthy of a yellow anyway at that rate. His first yellow was sort of deserved because it was he was in the way of the free kick without getting 10 yards past it, that kind of deal.
That is so dumb to me.
It's a stupid yellow, but
I noticed that. I do want to talk about that later. Remind me of that.
Sure. Then Liverpool just do what Liverpool do, and went up 2-1. Brighton draw at home against Burnley. This was probably one of top surprising score other than the next one I'm about to say. Adingra had to pull that one back for Brighton. Brighton, again, I think they have a problem with scoring currently. Obviously.
Brighton?
Yes.
One would think.
Yeah, right. United.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the Liverpool game real quick.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
The next time Woodsy complains about the vast conspiracy against Liverpool, just remind him of this match.
Oh, I will. Certainly. Okay. This will come up because I even said it in the group chat. I was like, oh, the league's handing.
Yeah,
Liverpool,
he didn't have anything to say to that.
No. But that's okay. I'll bring it up to him next time he's with us. Man United lose 0-3 to Bournemouth.
At Old Trafford.
Surprising. Yeah, at Old Trafford, which is insane.
Old Trafford's fallen down.
I said they need to just knock it down and rebuild again. But maybe this is the match that does it. This is a straw that breaks the camel's back. Sheffield win 1-0 at home against Brentford. Wolves draw 1-1 against Forest. Villa.
Milan just scored against Newcastle.
Oh, that means that
2-1 in the 84th minute.
Oh,
Newcastle, I think, at this point is out of Europe.
Yeah.
Milan gets a Europa League spot.
Oh, good golly.
Yep.
Imagine going from Champions League qualification into the knockout rounds to then not being able to qualify at all. That's pretty. What a whiplash. Crazy.
Honestly, it's probably good. It's probably, if in the long run, it's probably good that they're out of Europe.
Yeah.
They are stretched thin, and this is not helping. Very well worked goal. Oh, bad defense kept him on.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh. Who held him on?
And they just keep showing the kick. Who was it? It was. Oh Lordy, I didn't catch it. I just watched. He just like slowly just kept meandering back.
Oh.
It's one of those get to the 18, then pass it around, and he just kept meandering back, and the guy just kept taking steps forward and passed the ball and put it into the side netting.
Silly.
Believe it or not the biggest fan of Newcastle right now, especially Bruno. So I just showed Bruno all upset, and it's like, good.
He's an intelligent player, but good golly, he lets his emotions go.
He is an angry player.
Yeah, well, I didn't say he wasn't angry either. I just said intelligent.
All right, so you had just Wolves Nottingham Forest 1-1.
Yeah. And then
Villa's second famous 1-0 win. It's 1-0 to the Villa this week.
Yep. Yeah, well, at least we're keeping shutouts now.
At this time last year, all right, first of all, time out. At least we're keeping shutouts. The only teams that are better at scoring in the league right now is Liverpool than the two teams that you guys just shut out at home. That's not at least we're keeping shutouts. That is, your team is killing it right now.
I might have slipped it in modestly.
It is one of those, like, again, I still think that Arsenal should have got a goal out of that. And I don't mean as in, like, we were cheated or anything like that. I mean that as in, like, Arsenal did everything but put the ball in the back of the net. And the thing that stopped it sometimes were just Arsenal not doing it.
Yeah.
We had plenty of opportunities. We didn't get them. However, it's still a clean sheet, and it's still 3 points, and it's still a second 1-0 victory against probably the two best teams in maybe Europe, at least England. I know Woodsy doesn't want to hear that. I know Liverpool's very good, but City and Arsenal did it last year. They've won their Champions League group. They've done all these things. They're proving they're a very, very good team. The John McGinn goal is, I'm going to give credit to John McGinn. It did not look like anything incredibly special, but I don't remember the last time Ben White got turned like that.
It was because of that butt. He got lost in the butt.
Got lost in the butt. And then he turned around and saw McGinn's alien eyes and went, holy God!
And then he got the goggles on as he celebrates. That's probably one of my favorite celebrations. I love it.
Yeah, and you know the reason for it?
Yeah, it's because his nephew or something like that. Family member. It's
got a family reason. Yeah. Whenever you see a player do anything that's a little bit odd, you can like immediately just assume it's for a family member.
Yeah, oh yeah. On to Sunday's fixtures. Everton beat Chelsea at home 2-0. That makes we'll hop into Everton in a moment, but Fulham again. I had talked to Woodsy about this. I said in the last pod, does Fulham take away the fact that they gave up 3 against Liverpool, or 4, excuse me, against Liverpool, scored 3, and then do they take that motivation and keep going on? And they certainly did. They certainly have taken that motivation and absolutely ran with it.
I mean, 10-0 aggregate over the last 2 games. That's insane.
They have 17 goals scored in the last.
Harry Wilson came on in the 46th minute, got a goal and an assist.
Yeah. The Fulham is, everybody was concerned about them scoring. I was concerned about their scoring because they didn't have Mitrovic, and Vinicius isn't that great, and Raul looked like a shell of himself, but he's starting to score, so then that's making it much easier for Fulham to put up these kind of silly numbers here.
Willian, again, continuing to surprise.
Aging like fine wine.
Yeah,
Willian.
I really thought he had a couple decent stretches at Arsenal, but you look at the age, you look at where he plays.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I think when he's done with us, he's done. No, been very good at Fulham. Very good.
Successful. Yep. Something you want to hear. Luton Town surprisingly had the lead at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
But City were able to pull a City win.
Does.
Yeah, and scored 2.
God, Luton Town with 2 heartbreakers.
Yeah,
Luton Town had to do the opposite gauntlet that Villa did.
Yes,
and instead of having 2 famous victories, they had 2 famous defeats instead.
Oh, that's sad and true at the same time.
Give them credit though; they are playing a team that does that well. Deserves to stay up usually.
Well, I'm thinking that they are starting to figure out where they're going to have their goals come from, who's going to score the goals, and how they're going to get them. And I think they understand now that corners and set pieces within the box are going to be their highest priority. And most of us probably knew that because Colton Morris. Isn't the paciest striker, and he's got an exceptional head on him. So even though these goals didn't come from Colton Morris, and I think they came from Adebayo, is that how you pronounce Adebayo? Who's another tall striker that they have, heading specialist. They need to just be able to get down, get a corner, and hope for the best on that. Because their open play isn't that great.
I'd agree. I just looked it up because I wanted to look it up before I said it, and I'm glad I did. It felt like, I know the Arsenal match, they scored 4 goals. It still felt like we could never get going or we could never contain quite the way we wanted to.
Yeah.
And with City, they kind of struggled to get going, although City's been struggling a little bit recently. And I just looked it up. Kenilworth Road seems smaller, but width-wise, it's almost identical to the Emirates. It's a little bit smaller. It's like 72 yards to 74.
Huh.
But a lot of times, smaller teams like that can have an advantage at home because it's so much more compact.
And then you get the crowd deafening over top of you, and players aren't really... I'm not going to say they're not used to a fan or a stadium like that, but Kenilworth is a very unique situation. Like the closest that could possibly come to Kenilworth is probably Bournemouth's stadium, and I'm just losing what their stadium's called.
Yeah, me too. And now that's annoying.
Vitality?
The Vitality Stadium. Stamford Bridge will also... They're very packed in there.
That's true. And
it's taller, but they're packed in. They're close.
Yeah.
And for me, if you're talking about width, like the Emirates, the Etihad, they are farther apart because they're newer stadiums, and they're built with more of the safety in mind. You're not as close to the field as you used to be able to. But regardless, it's not really... I don't know if that's what played a part. I think Luton Town's just good at playing at home, and I also think it's one of those, screw it, we're going to play as well as we can, and if we lose, everyone's expecting us to lose anyway. So
sure, no, that's what we've discussed before. They're always going to be the team that has that chip on their shoulder because they have to.
All right. So let's get into title race because I know you want to talk about that. First of all, City in fourth.
City in fourth. Good for them. They're 4
points off of first, so it's not like they're far away.
No, of course.
But they are technically in fourth right now. What I think is amazing is they're 6 points. 6 points separated from the other side of Manchester. That does not seem right to me.
No. And, well, I think it's mostly due to United's just straight chaos. Like, you're just... Every time, it's not even alcohol in the wounds; it's vinegar in the wounds. Because vinegar smells bad and it hurts. So it's just festering at United, and they've been doing this since Ferguson left. But it's even more magnified in the last few seasons, where they can't get the right manager, they can't get the right staffing, they can't even bring in a owner to buy the current owners out. So it's just like a giant minefield of cluster F going on.
Yeah, the owner situation, they could sell tomorrow if they wanted to, but they won't sell. They won't sell for the price that the Glazers want, and who knows behind the closed doors, whatever that's going on with that. But United just doesn't. Of course, I said let's talk title race. We're somehow talking United, who's not in the title race.
Yeah, right.
the two hot dogs around the devil are not going to be lifting up the Premier League trophy this year. But I think, as much as I love the idea of like Ten Hag's a clown and a bald fraud and all of that, I think the memes are conflating him losing his job to him not being good at his job. And I say that as someone who just went through our own banter years for a long time. There was a lot of people who wanted Arteta out, but it just takes time to build up to what your vision is. And you need to get everyone in the club to buy into it, right? And Arsenal has, and we still haven't won a Prem, but you can see it working. We're a point off the lead. We could be tied and only second on goal difference if a game just this last weekend went slightly different. And again, I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying the margins are so close. Through 16 games, we're a point off first. We're exactly where we want to be. Obviously, you'd love to be 10 points clear, but you're not going to be 10 points clear in this Premier League anymore.
No. Correct.
Liverpool want to win. People complain that Fenway Sports Group, people always complain about Fenway Sports Group because they don't try to win the right way, which I find hilarious. I'm a Red Sox fan. People complain about them all the time. Mm-hmm. I hear, they should sell the team. They don't know what they're doing. We didn't win for 86 years. No, we've won 4. They know what they're doing. I don't know how else to say that. They know what they're doing. With Liverpool, had never won the Premier League. Hadn't won in 30 years. Win the Prem. Year before, won a Champions League.
Yeah.
The Premier League team in 1920 was one of the best teams ever. And the only reason why people don't remember it is because the pandemic hit and the season got screwed up. It's a good thing Woodsy's not here because he'd have to turn off his camera because he would be probably touching himself to what I'm saying. But it's the truth, right? So they know how to do that. And you can see the only outlier that I'm seeing, and I'm not saying it's an outlier as in they don't deserve to be here because they have definitely played that good, is Villa, because Villa hasn't had to go through this huge maturation process. They had a good team with a bad coach. Yep. They got a good coach. Unai's a good coach. I said Unai was a good coach when he was at Arsenal. It just didn't work.
Yeah. And
yet here they are. If you look over the last calendar year, I think they're third there too. And the second.
They're second.
Behind only City?
Yes, that's correct. They're insane. They're playing out of their mind.
I don't know. And everyone's talking about, oh, man, we need to go get this person. Oh, man. I hear Arsenal fans, we want Diego Carlos. I hear Liverpool fans, I think it was Liverpool fans. Someone's talking about Ollie Watkins. And I was like, do you know what it would cost those guys,
A bunch.
Villa's going to be in the Champions League next year. I really think they are. There's an extra slot.
Yeah.
And even if there wasn't, right now, they have to be odds-on favorite to be in the top 4. Because below them are Tottenham, City. But,
yeah,
I mean, I'm still not saying that Villa's finishing above City. I'm not ready to make that. I'm not saying anyone's finishing above City yet. I've been burned. But below that, Tottenham, Manchester United, Newcastle, and Brighton. Villa is miles better than all those teams. They're going to be in the Champions League next year. They want to do that again. It would be $150 million to make up for the difference that Ollie Watkins would cost you, or Diego Carlos, or Douglas Luiz would cost you.
You said
Douglas Luiz, yes. My bad. That Douglas Luiz would cost you. It would be that much money. They're going to be so inflated because they're worth more to Villa now.
Yeah. Plus, they're sitting in third, and all that other, and the fact that they're playing well, and everything is just accumulating their dollar prices, and it's going to be impossible. And it's also, why would you want to leave right now? You're sitting in third. You have a good chemistry going with a great coach, so it would take even more money for them to be convinced to leave.
Well, if Arsenal or Liverpool or City came knocking for one of those players, I could see them wanting to go. You can see what's been built to Arsenal. You can see the trophies that have been won at Liverpool. City wins everything all the time.
Yeah, well,
I could see wanting to go for the money and the prestige and the chance at trophies. I can also really see not leaving. I mean, McGinn's not going to go anywhere. I think McGinn's going to die a Villa player.
He's mainstay.
Make a statue outside, and everyone will go, "Oh my God, they screwed up the eyes," and they'll be like, "No, that's just what it looks like." And that's the only thing with Villa as a player they'll be worried about is, are they going to commit themselves to doing this year over year? Because they're certainly doing it now.
I think if Villa go out and buy a couple players, even a player in January of a high profile, high caliber kind of status, if Villa's gonna start to mean business at that point, you have to look at them, and the players within that current group have to look at each other and be like, okay, our owners mean business, our staff means business. I think we're okay with staying with the current culture that we have growing right now, and we only see us getting better. And for the January window is going to be critical for Villa, because if they could prove to bring in a big player or two highly profiled players, then you can start shifting and saying, okay, Villa's a team that means business. I just repeated myself twice, so I'm sorry everybody had to listen to that again. But Villa's a good destination to go to. When everybody pitches Villa, players there as well, they love the atmosphere of the fans. They love the fact that the staff is great. They love the fact that the owners always are going out and looking to improve. So it's not like a dead zone in the middle of England or anything like that. So Villa's going to be a destination for players in the next winter and summer windows here.
I mean, I certainly hope so. I do. I just, and maybe it is because Chelsea is going to look less appealing, and we're going to get to a rule change as to why Chelsea will look less appealing.
For real. Yeah.
United don't look appealing.
No.
Tottenham, I could see guys wanting to go play for Ange, and they have a bunch of money that they haven't been able to do anything with.
I could see that.
City? I don't have any reason for City to not continue to win, apart from the fact that they have 115 pending financial charges.
Yeah.
And that could get thrown. Apart from that, right now, the rest of soccer in Europe is PSG, just get rid of a bunch of big players. The Saudi League's what you got to worry about.
Yeah. So my thought process on that one is the Saudi League is no different than the Premier League, to be honest. As far as purchasing players goes, like Premier League has all the power and all the money, except for the Saudi League. And they're able to woo players away from other countries or other transfer targets that other teams and clubs are looking for with just, here's some dollars, come play with us kind of deal. So, was I frustrated at first that Saudi's doing this? And I know we probably shouldn't have spun off into this, but this is what happens sometimes. Yeah, of course I was frustrated because they're taking players away from other clubs or Premier League clubs that I personally would have liked, or that it seems a little fraudulent what they're doing. But the Premier League do the same thing. Not just a little less fraudulent, but except for City.
Well, it's not just that it's fraudulent. It's the sports washing that gets me. This league did not... yes, the league existed, but this league did not functionally exist years ago. The Premier League has existed, or the top division in English football has existed for...
hundreds of years.
Yeah, 100, 120 years at least.
Yeah.
And while they made smart business decisions to turn the Premier League into the behemoth that it was in, that it's turned into, there's a history, and they're not trying to sports wash. Everyone wants your money, and I'm not going to deny that, and I'm not going to say that what the Saudis are doing is worse because they want your money more than someone else, or they're spending money more than someone else. It's the fact that they're trying to use the sport to distract from how awful they are the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue I have. And that's why I don't like the Saudi League and what's gone on there. Also, and we still haven't seen it yet, but I think we will in January, the inter-club loaning, when it's all owned by one big conglomerate, that's dangerous. That I don't like at all. So the amount of clubs that the City football group owns is no good.
Normally, I would agree with that, but Villa also have partaken in owning 4 other.
You don't have to like your owners.
No, I like my owners. Are you kidding? I like Villa's owners. Sorry. They've gone out and expanded the reach of Villa. Why wouldn't I like my owners?
Well, I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a romantic.
You don't have to throw that on me, though.
Maybe I'm a romantic. I don't like when, at least keep it in different organizations and not just like you can't own 2 Premier League teams, obviously.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have 2 teams that could ever meet in a UEFA match.
That's a factual thing. They literally can't do that. In fact, now I'll just bring it up because you brought it up.
I know now it's a rule, but you shouldn't have 2 teams that fall under the UEFA umbrella. If you want to own a South American team, if you want to go by River Plate, which you probably couldn't, but if you want to do that and you want to own an MLS team and you want to own a team in England, I don't care.
I see what you're saying. Just don't keep it.
But if you want to own a team in England and a team in France and a team in Germany and a team in Italy and a team in Spain, that I have a problem with, because they're all under the UEFA umbrella.
What if it's all lower divisions? And yes, I know they can
promotion and relegation, it doesn't matter. Anything, it's all movable.
So let's say they do get promoted into their top division, then you have to sell your majority stake and make it a minority stake. And now you don't have the same
I don't think it should be a minority stake. I think it should be nothing.
Okay.
Zilch, nil.
Nada.
I also don't like it. Sports teams mean a lot to people.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like the idea of them being used as assets.
Oof. Yeah, that's a fair point.
I really like the idea, and I buy Arsenal merch. I understand that it fills coffers of people. I get it. I understand that. I would love for everything to go directly back into the club. But I understand that this is the world we live in, and I'm going to choose happiness over dying on that hill. But when it becomes every team, oh, well, no, I just have a minority stake in that. Oh, well, I own a conglomerate that has money put into a trust fund, and the trust fund, but by the way, sports teams are not bad investments, yet trust funds get involved. So I guess they're not bad investments. Stop lying to me. I don't know what's wrong with you. This is not a baseball podcast, but the Shohei Ohtani deal proves that baseball owners lie through their teeth. And we know that, but now we have actual factual proof. But anyway, when a trust fund invests in a team, oh, well, that's really what it is I have money that's in another pot that's in another pot. You are so far removed from what's actually going on. You know, it's the reason why Leicester City love their owner so much. He'd land the chopper in the middle of the field because he wanted to take off from the stadium because he loved Leicester City that much.
Yeah.
You know, I want that. As much as the Cronkies still are not necessarily my favorite people, Josh is involved in Arsenal, and he doesn't try to take over the reins. He doesn't Daniel Levy it, thank God. But he has an investment. He shows up. You see him. He asks questions. He gets involved. He does those things. And when everything's owned by a shell company that's owned by a trust fund that's owned by, and that you have a percentage of, it's smart business. That's great. But I understand it's a business, but it doesn't need to be that much of a business.
Fair enough. I'm going to move on because we never really touched on title race at all.
No, we keep jumping off of it.
Yeah, we do.
We touched on Villa.
What's that?
And like I said, we touched on Villa, and like you said, we didn't really touch on the title race. So,
that's fair. I think that's all we need to talk about. Just Villa.
Just Villa.
I will give my side. I don't think Villa's going to be in the top 4 personally. I think Spurs are a better team right now, unless Villa go out and get another player to put them over the edge. I think Spurs play really open, and that could bite them in the butt. Just like they play like Villa, essentially. But I think they just have a couple better quality players than Villa do. So I could see Spurs get into the top 4 by the end of the season. As far as title contentions, it's only Matchday 16. I still think City are going to be the winners because there's no evidence that says otherwise. They do this every season. They go through this lull and then they click it on. So let's see by, match day 25 or probably by February. Let's see by February what we're looking. And then we'll go from there. But if I had to put a pin on it right now, because I can, it's going to be still City.
I think that it is 50-50 City or Liverpool or Arsenal, which is the best that we've seen in a long time.
Sure.
The odds for not being City.
This is a great toss-up this year.
Every day that goes on, I start to think a little bit less that it could be City and a little bit more that it's going to be Arsenal or Liverpool.
That's fair.
Know Woodsy's going to say, "Oh, we've been there before." Yeah, you have a brand new midfield. No one's been there before till they've done it. Every team always has new guys that have never won anything.
Sure.
I don't doubt City, but City, the thing that worries me is for the first time about City, if I was a City fan, the thing that excites me, I guess I should say, but I don't want to say excites because it's about injuries. Last year, I still think that the reason why Arsenal lost the Premier League was because of William Saliba going down. If we kept William Saliba, I think we win the Premier League. I do think it's that simple, which coincides with a lot of people are saying. We don't have the depth. We don't have the depth. We don't have the depth. Okay, yeah, you didn't. We had probably the best 11 when they were all clicking, but the second we got away from the 11, we had issues. City this year have been without Kevin De Bruyne, and they didn't have a huge gap. Although, by the way, I'm pretty sure one of my true falses way back was that City's in 4th at Christmas.
Huh.
So
very nice.
I'm getting that one on. What worries me is Rodri. If Rodri goes down or gets hot-headed and gets another red, they do not play well without him.
That is true.
And that is what that is like the biggest missing armor piece that City have had in a long time. They also don't have Gundogan, who can just come in and completely change games. He did that for them 2 years ago, not to bring up bad memories for you.
Yeah.
But that Villa match to end the season, he did that 2 years ago. He completely changed that match.
Certainly did.
And I know, that's only one game, but he does that. Rodri commands the defensive side of midfield, and Kevin De Bruyne is probably the best player in the world.
They dictate the tempo. All three of those guys dictate the tempo on how City want to play. Mm-hmm. And if they're not available, then they don't really have that. Well, obviously, Gundogan is not available because he's in Barcelona right now. But if they don't have De Bruyne and
loan him back,
Rodri, yeah, right, on a loan, then yeah, they don't have the kind of guys that dictate the tempo in there. They can't. John Stones isn't going to do it. Rico Lewis isn't going to do it. Mateo Kovacic, absolutely not. Phil Foden can try, but it's not really his pace of his style anyway either. So I don't have that kind of guide that
Foden is never going to change
to. Yes, I don't have that transitional guy when it falls through like that. So yeah,
the other thing that I think is worth bringing up, although I am surprised, how many goals do you think Erling Haaland scored this year? 16 matches played.
14.
You just knew that?
I kind of did, yeah.
Okay. He has had some really, really bad misses.
Oh, for sure. The City.
But he scored 14 goals, and only 3 of them have been pens. So he's scoring.
Yeah.
I guess I was just so used to him being automatic, but I was looking at it, it's like, I don't know.
He hasn't scored in his last 2 matches, and he was out the most recent one. So
yeah, he assisted for Tottenham, obviously Villa with a shutout.
And then he got injured for the most recent one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's been a little cold right now, but I mean,
also City aren't shutting down other top matchups. So far this year, the top 4. City have lost to Arsenal, drawn to Liverpool, and lost to Villa.
Yeah, those are the type of games where they usually just, okay, we're either going to get a point or we're going to get all 3. We're not going to lose.
Yeah, and that's where they create separation at the top.
Yes. Well,
and they haven't been doing that. And those are the reasons why I'm calling it 50-50. But again, that's not because I think, I also think that Arsenal have gotten better. I think that you'd be crazy to say that Arsenal haven't gotten better. Liverpool have 100% gotten better.
Absolutely.
So I think when City slip like they do every year, that Arsenal and Liverpool just have so much more pressure on them. If this Arsenal team was, and I understand ifs, buts, and whens and all that, if this Arsenal team existed last year in this form, City don't win the treble.
Probably not.
But now they do. I think City's a little bit weaker. I do.
I completely agree.
I also think that if City wins, it's going to be because Villa took too many points off of the other people.
They're just sniping, taking pop shots off of other teams.
It is going to feel that way.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to we got to talk about Everton. I know we're getting a little bit deep, but we got to talk about Everton.
I think Everton is a worthy talk about. I also like Bournemouth. We did talk about them last week. It was a little brush.
Everton would be in the top 10.
I know.
If it wasn't for the point deduction.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah, they'd be ahead of Chelsea right now, and they deserve every little bit of it. Sean Dyche must have gone as soon as this point deduction, called a meeting and been like, put 10 points, negative 10 points on there. It says, we will get these 10 points back. We will be above relegation by so-and-so date, and we're going to use this as motivation. If I was him, I'd do that. You kidding me? That's the easiest motivational what word am I looking for here? Trigger?
Motivation.
Yeah, trigger. Motivational trigger.
Yeah, okay. All right, now I see what you're saying. I agree.
Aha. Yeah. And they've done it. They've done exactly that. They've had 3 clean sheets, and they've won. Obviously, they're going to win every match. Well, that's not true. I guess they could draw. But they've won all the matches that they've clean sheeted on. And they're scoring goals left and right.
Yeah, the United game was a bit odd. But
odd.
they beat Palace 3-2.
Yeah.
Beat Nottingham Forest 1-0.
Yep.
3-0 victory to Newcastle. 2-0 victory against Chelsea.
Yeah, they're killing
it's just very, very, yeah. That's a very, very good team. They got Burnley coming up, away at Burnley, home to Fulham.
That's gonna be
EFL Cup. EFL Cup.
Oh.
So who knows?
Don't care.
Away to Tottenham.
That'll be a fun
And then
one.
home to City.
Oof. They got a tough schedule coming up here.
I don't know about away to Tottenham. I don't know how scary that is. I guess it depends when Madison comes back.
Late January. Well, that's what a lot of people
you've been hearing.
Saying.
That's the scuttlebutt.
That is the buttle of the Scott. But even at that rate, I don't know. Everton have been holding their own, and I think it comes down to honestly Decore. If Didier Decore can just manhandle your midfield, and he's been playing more advanced too, it's kind of like what Bournemouth did last year with Phil Billingsley, where they just put him in an advanced role. Here's your 6'4" midfielder, play literal box to box, and have fun. And that's what they're doing with Decore as well. And honestly, that's kind of what some teams have been doing in general. Like Villa's going to be the easiest one for me to example here. They'll take Yuri Tielemans, or they'll take John McGinn, or they'll take another one of their midfielders and put a playmaker up there. And to be able to link up play with wings and your striker. And that's all that these other teams are doing, is they're trying to get a body up there to be able to give it to their striker or their wingers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working out really well for teams that have been doing that. Obviously, Everton here. I had them relegated. I don't see these guys getting relegated.
I'm pretty sure I had them relegated too.
I really don't see that happening.
They didn't seem to improve.
They only got Jack Harrison.
I was wrong. So
Harrison and I think that's it. I really think they only got Harrison. And I didn't think Harrison was going to be that much of an upgrade to whomever they had the last time, which is clearly nobody that I can remember. Oh, they went out and got Ashley Cole too. Young. That would have been funny if they got Cole. And they got Ashley Young. They pulled him from retirement. So yeah, they didn't do much of anything, and they're still kicking it with the best of them right now. So good for you guys. Good for you guys.
They just won't die.
Boy,
not that we want them to, but it does feel that way. Over the past couple seasons, it's just like, how are they still here?
Yeah. Just keep the skin of their teeth every time. It's almost like the most. If Man United wasn't such a soap opera there, I would say Everton is the soap.
Well, yeah. No, that's true.
But
that's definitely true.
You know, you hate to watch United games, but you love to watch the tabloids for United, essentially, the whole time. Like, oh, what's happening now? Ten Hag's not allowing 7 reporters in because he doesn't like them, which isn't. That's right. Just me speculating, not actual facts.
Moving on to our last news piece, I think. Premier League clubs vote for 5-year player contract limits.
Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
This definitely crushes anything that Chelsea. So they're grandfathered in, Chelsea. So they
obviously
don't have.
Well, they couldn't go. Imagine going to Mudryk and being like, "Hey, last 3 years of that deal doesn't count."
Or the first 3 years. You don't get paid right now. We'll just take it out. Whatever we gave you, we want it back and then more. But yeah, so this obviously they weren't going to be able to stretch out the transfer transfer fee throughout the entirety of the contract, which is what Chelsea was doing, which is why they signed these massively long contracts to be able to afford players that are 100 million or even 70 million, still really expensive for 8 years.
That and and their contracts.
And their contracts too. So
yeah. So you spread all of it out.
The
and
most
as you spread it out, that's how much it costs. So then your financial fair play can be balanced over. If I spend $100 million on 3 players, it's $300 million, and I only made $270 million. So how could I do that? Well, I didn't spend $100 million on 3 players. I spent, $20 million each.
Yeah.
So instead of $300 million, I spent $60 million.
Yep.
So I'm well within financial play rules.
Exactly.
And then, well, what about their contracts? Okay, well, their contracts are $20 million. It's a 7-year contract for $100 million, but really it's not, because you had to divide 100 by 7 and then spread it out. So
exactly,
it is a known financial practice, and it does make sense in financial terms. And the reason why they're doing this is because they can't change FFP. FFP is a UEFA rule.
Yep.
And for those who don't know, that's financial fair play. And you basically, the gist of it is you can't spend more money than you make. So you can't buy a team, dump a ton of money into it, and then do what Roman Abramovich did to Chelsea, and then what the City Group did to City. And then you can't do that. And that's supposed to be the idea. But if you didn't have the 5-year limit on contracts, you could give players a 7, 8, 9, 10-year contract and spread it out and get around financial fair play. Yep. So the Premier League doesn't control financial fair play. The Premier League, UEFA controls financial fair play. UEFA is the governing body that does that. So Premier League, basically, this is a rule change to align themselves with existing UEFA rules.
Yeah.
They closed the loophole.
I think it's essentially. Not even essentially. They definitely closed the loophole. So now they're forcing teams in order to pay throughout 5 years instead of the entirety of the contract, which I'm fine.
And I make a rule, and you find a loophole, and I close that loophole. It's still the rule,
Even at that rate, like, how many teams outside of what Chelsea did do these sort of contracts? Typically, the longest you see is about 5 years. Anyway, so it's not even really like a major change.
Well, so it made sense to get players in. It can absolutely bite you in the ass.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of teams didn't see it as being worth it. If everything's still going great, the player knows that we're going to renegotiate a contract with them that's probably going to net them more money.
Yeah, of course.
Also, most players probably don't want it because it takes away bargaining power. I want to leave. You're under contract for 7 years.
Right.
I want to leave, and I'm going to leave on a free if you don't sign me within the next whatever. So most players don't even necessarily want it. There are reasons to have it. It's guaranteed money.
Of course.
But if you're betting on yourself, like, look at what's gone on with Mbappe in PSG. He's not signing an 8-year contract anywhere.
Be lucky to lock him down for 6 months.
Feels like it sometimes.
Yeah, right?
Because if I'm doing so good and the team gets to negotiate straight with me instead of going through a whole transfer saga, that's a more attractive approach. And if I'm already playing for a team that's good enough to offer me this 8-year contract, they can probably offer me a 3-year contract or a 4 or 5-year contract at a good amount, and then renegotiate when the contract gets within 2 years of, I forget the term, but finalizing. And I'll probably make more money. And if everything goes horrible and I break a leg, then I still have made the money that I made, which is more than you and I make. So,
yep. Within a week.
It was, I think it never, I'm glad they closed the loophole because it should have never been allowed to happen, but it didn't happen before because you probably couldn't get the right guys to do it.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
I think Todd Bowley's really good at getting people to buy in.
He must be the most silver-tongued man on the planet.
Feels that
like
way.
Now that Henry Kissinger is dead, it's definitely him.
Now that Henry Kissinger's dead. Man, you guys are getting everything on this pod today.
Good God.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts?
I think that, you know what? Do you want to look at your favorite matchup for Matchday 17? Let's do that. That'll be my final thought. How about that?
Oh, I'm always up for looking at matches.
Okay, cool. I'm thinking it's always going to be Villa. Not true. This week, I think There's definitely one that I'm really interested in. It's going to be Liverpool United. It's not even close. I want to see what kind of numbers Liverpool is going to throw up against United.
Yeah, I don't like that though because I'm trying to beat Liverpool.
Oh, okay, me too.
But I do agree. Yeah, you got to get used to that now, bud.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think Burnley Everton has a chance to be sneaky good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my top pick. My top pick is probably Newcastle Fulham.
Just to see
Newcastle's been letting in goals and Fulham's been scoring, and I want to know if they're going to get it right at St. James's Park or if Fulham's going to go in there.
Yeah, that'd be a neat one. I'll keep my eye on that one. Is that a?
That's a 10 o'clock Saturday.
And it's Peacock. Let's go.
Yep, I had to miss the Luton match. I had to miss the Champions League match, and I'll have to miss this match because I'll be at a wedding.
Oh, boo. Just stream it.
It's pretty boo.
Pretty boo. Oh, I didn't even notice that I want to see if Brighton actually can hold against Arsenal as well. Because they've just been...
I doubt it.
Give up a goal. It doesn't matter. Brighton literally have not... Brighton have given up a goal in the last 22 matches.
22 matches without a clean sheet, huh?
Without a clean sheet. That's insane.
Yeah.
But that's the way they play.
I think Arsenal-Brighton could get bloody. Brighton's not playing well, and you have a real frustrated Arsenal team right now.
Yeah.
That could get... It could also not, because every time I think I have this Arsenal team pegged, they do something different.
We're gonna do
7 goals at Kenilworth Road.
Yeah, that's
4-3 at Kenilworth Road. No one saw that coming.
I said 6 goals, but all of them to Arsenal.
Yeah,
so
right. Like 6 goals.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I had 6 goals too. In fact, when we scored the third, I think I was thinking in my head like, well, I had 6 goals. I just didn't think they'd be split.
Oh man. I have one final thought. If Villa win their next 2 matches, they automatically sit second.
Who are the next 2?
Brentford and hold on, Sheffield United.
Why would they automatically be second?
Or maybe it's the new year. Maybe it's by the new year. I don't know. It's a thing I saw.
Because Arsenal and Liverpool play.
Yeah.
On the 23rd. Yep.
So.
That's going to be a big match.
Woo! Yes, it will.
A Liverpool-Arsenal match at Anfield is going to be big.
What day is it?
It's the 23rd.
Oh, it's the 23rd.
That's going to be a really big match. I already have anxiety for that match.
Heart palpitations are going.
That one's going to be
actually
heavy,
go to the Sheffield. Anyway, that's all I got. I don't know about you. I have.
No, I'm all set. That is it. Match of the season might be on the 23rd of December.
Yeah, probably.
Oh God. I want to know. I mean, I can already hear it if we win. Matip's out, Jota's out, Robertson's out, McAllister's out for an unknown amount of time.
If you are an Arsenal or a Liverpool fan and you've got nothing to do, or you've come back from college, go to Wolf's Beer Garden in Albany on Broadway.
That's going to be great scenes.
It's going to be a packed house between the Albany Gooners and Liverpool. Oh, I don't know.
LFC Albany? I think that's
LFC
it.
Albany.
That's what they call themselves, LFC Albany.
Even if you're not a fan of those two, and
just
maybe
go.
you're a fan of other, just go. Go have a drink.
Oh,
tell Carl we said hi. Also, if you're looking for a bartending job, they're looking for a bartender too. So
we're thinking about the "We Love the Arsenal" chant. Talked about this with Brian. I really want to go with a "We love you, Carl." We do.
I can get behind that.
Oh man,
I think that'd be about. You want to make him blush? See. That's it right there.
Oh yeah. God, man. I'm gonna be freaking out over that match for a week and a half now.
No.
10
Better
days.
take some ashwagandha.
Oh. What's amazing to me is we got the monkey off the back. We took 4 points off him last week. Last week. 4 points off the pool in a week. Took 4 points off him last year. And I think we match up really well. I think we're going to do a very good job of shutting them down.
It's going to be such a fun match. I'm going to go to this match.
You know what? I'm going to call it right now. It's going to be a 1-0 victory to the Arsenal because no one was expecting a 1-0 anything in that match.
At Anfield, nonetheless.
But if Liverpool can get shut down by a City that's not defending very well, I think Arsenal can do it. I really think Arsenal will do it.
If the cards lay out right, absolutely. But we'll discuss that.
Yep, we will. We have hit the hour mark. We're going to turn into a pumpkin.
Oh, well, that's true.
That's a true. All right. You going to sign us out of here?
Yeah. So if you have not liked, subscribed, followed, please give us all those things.
Do the things.
Give us the comments. See, it's weirder. Like, I know that you can also take over for this, so I'm like jumbled right now. I'm like in a weird space.
You're the guy.
Give us 5 stars or give us stars in general. We'll just comment stars, wording or emojis.
If you're still here, comment stars. That'd be great.
Yes, comment stars, please. So Brian, please comment stars. That's all we got. It's been Swinging at Shins. Toodaloo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Links for anything that you could be interested in, whether it's the YouTube channel, our podcast links, our social media links, everything's in the description below. Thank you very much for listening.